Good evening, friends. It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Tonight, we're talking about relationships that no longer serve us. And I had that opportunity today to see a relationship that's no longer serving me. Now, before we jump fully into this, just know that we're not talking about my marriage. My marriage is just great and amazing. I love my wife. Fresh off a date tonight with our daughter, by the way. But that doesn't make this lesson any less relevant or important. Sometimes we think the really impactful relationships are the ones where the big juicy lessons are, but this is a juicy lesson nonetheless. So, my wife and I have a monthly subscription to a massage place. There are many of those around the country, right? And we've been in this now for, I want to say, a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I can't remember. There you go. I mean, that's evidence of the relationship not working, right? Like, I just don't even know how long I've been in it anymore. But I want to point, there's something important here for us in the conversation of business and relationships. So stick with me, right? I can remember for the longest time thinking to myself, it would be the coolest thing to have a massage once a month. And so that was just one of those dreams. I was like, that would be a cool way to for self-care or recovery stuff for me. And then a year and a half, 2 years ago, we signed up for one of those massage places where you have a monthly subscription and you get a massage with your subscription. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I've always wanted this. I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing it right now. Look at what I'm doing. And I got to appreciate that moment. But as I went through it, I started to realize, like, there's a lot of, it opened my mind. Let's say it this way. It opened my mind to a lot of some of the things that I liked. And then some of the things that I'm like, I don't like this, right? I would choose something different than this. And yet, every month, I would just show up. Now, for the first year, they're like, well, you have a contract. You need to stay here for the full year. But that has come and gone. And yet, I'm still here. What is that? What's happening here? Okay, well, I think what's happening is I've said things like, well, it's just not convenient to cancel, or it's good enough. It's good. It's better than nothing, right? And then every month I just stay and suffer the relationship. I stay in, it's not like I'm suffering, right? I'm getting a massage, but you understand, like, there is something else that is calling to me, and yet I'm staying in something subpar. Now, let's immediately transition to business and marketing. How many of us are sitting there suffering or putting up with the things that are less than ideal? We've stepped into new things. Maybe it's a coaching relationship. Maybe it's a business relationship. Maybe it's a personal relationship. Maybe it's a tool that you've been reluctant to give up, right? Because it's inconvenient to give it up. I don't know what it is for you. What I do know is that as humans, it's very easy for us to hang on to things that we've accumulated over time that no longer actually serve us the way we want to be served. When you think about what you really want, listen, the relationships you've had, relationships, we'll use that word lightly or loosely, the relationships you've had over time have opened you up and helped you to see what your preferences are. I like this, I don't like this. And then because life is busy or it's inconvenient or it's good enough, we just stay in the status quo. And this is the thing that has you, for the longest time, I would feel behind in life. I would feel like I should be so much further than I am. I could feel that. I could see that. I had expanded my mind. I had allowed myself to dream, and yet my current reality wasn't that. And part of it was suffering through or putting up with the things that were good enough or inconvenient to switch from. So part of us, me, you, feeling stuck where we are, like we should be further, is that we keep putting up with things that are old things now. There was a moment where they were new and fresh, and this is cool, and I'm glad I'm doing this now. And then there was a point where that wasn't the case anymore. There is something new calling to you. There is something new inviting you to somewhere else. But because you're so attached to the convenience of things, or you're so attached to it being good enough, or you're afraid to hurt somebody's feelings, or you're afraid to have the hard conversation, you just stay where you are. And someday, maybe someday, you'll make that move. But in the meantime, congratulations, you get to suffer with all the thoughts you carry around with yourself like, wow, I should be further than I am. Well, right. So move on. Move on. Listen, I'm saying this to you as much as I'm saying it to me. You know me by now. If you've watched any of my show long enough, you know that when I speak to you, I'm speaking to me. I never speak to you from a place that I have not lived or looked at. So I'm bringing this to you fresh from the front lines of my life, looking at the things, investigating the things where I hold on to things because it's inconvenient to move on. That's stupid. That's dumb. How have I not grown out of that yet? And yet, here I am, right? Looking at this thing today that happened today in my life. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I want something else. I want something different than this. So I get to make that call. I get to make that choice. And so do you. You in your life and the things that you want, there is something right now, I promise you, in your business, in your marketing, maybe even in your life that you are putting up with and settling for when there is something else you'd prefer. That's it, gang. That's the episode tonight. You want to have results? You want to expand to something new? Perfect. Start taking steps towards that. And that might require that you give up the things that are taking your time, money, and energy, those resources. There are things in your life that you're giving time, money, and energy to that you may need to replace and get rid of in order to take on something new. So I can't tell you what that is for me. I'm looking at what it is for you. I can tell you what it is for me. I'm looking at what it is for me, and what there is now is for you to look at what it is for you. Always in service of you living your best life and you stepping into your important work. So that's what I'm here for, right? I get to be that little bird on your shoulder chirping away, letting you know that there's always another level we get to step into. I'm on my journey, stepping into what's next for me, and I'm just here to support you in stepping in what's next for you. If you'd like to learn more about how I help you step into something new in marketing, you can always go to groundswellmethod.com, check out the free videos there that talk all about the world of marketing. Some of you have been putting up with your old ways of lead generation, the old ways you've been taught to generate leads, and it doesn't work for you anymore. But because you think it's inconvenient to learn something new, or not just inconvenient, but it's maybe what you're doing is good enough, although most of the time in marketing that's not the case, you just suffer through with what you've got. When there's something new calling to you, and if you feel like there's a new way to build your business that's calling to you, I invite you to look at these free videos because it creates a whole world of how we could actually use marketing to make the world a better place and serve people rather than manipulate them. So if you want to learn more about that, go to groundswellmethod.com, watch the free videos. And on the last page of those videos is an application. You can click the Apply Today button. Up pops an application for the next upcoming Groundswell Method Intensive program, where I work with you for 6 weeks on how to find your message, the thing that's in your soul to say to the world, and then put that out in a very effective and public way so that not only, so that one, you aren't hiding anymore, but so that two, your people can find you. Some of you are stuck in old ways of lead generation and marketing that are having you be invisible because you're not saying really what you want to say. You're saying what you think you're supposed to say. You're saying what you think the world wants you to say, but you're not actually saying what's in your soul to say. And that's the thing that's where it gets lost in translation. That's what doesn't serve you. That's why it doesn't feel energizing to you, because it's not you. You might be checking the box called I posted to Facebook today, or I wrote a blog post, or whatever you did, but it doesn't fill your soul because it's not coming from your soul. So if you'd like a more soul level approach to marketing, then go to groundswellmethod.com, watch the free videos, fill out the application on the last page, and apply for the next upcoming Groundswell Method Intensive. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Until tomorrow when we go live again, here's to you finding the relationships and the solutions that actually work for you.